Hello and welcome back to the DoneDeal YouTube channel. I'm David OC and today we're reviewing one of the most important cars to hit the market in 2021. It is the all-new Hyundai Tucson, and whilst it came out at the end of last year, this year it's hit the ground running. Now, first and foremost, let's discuss pricing. As prices start at about 34,000 euros, this, the Executive Plus model, it's also a hybrid. This one costs upwards of 42 or 43,000 euros, but you get some bigger wheels, a bigger infotainment system, and a few other little bells and whistles. The most dramatic changes for the all-new Tucson have happened here at the front. Most noticeably is the grille and the lights. And actually, if you count up the lights, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lights. So 14 lights in total when you've got your fog lights on. It might be a little bit excessive. We'll leave that to you in the comments, but it is definitely Marmite. People either love it or people aren't the biggest fan. Now, moving along from that, and when you actually look at the different creases along the side, the different lines, it's actually really, really nice and quite unique. However, it does remind me ever so slightly of a Toyota RAV4 or maybe even something like a Lexus. Then around the rear, it reminds me of the Ford Mustang Mach-E or even the Kia Sorento, which we very recently reviewed. A really noticeable thing is that there's no rear wiper. However, in fact, it's actually hidden away up here. I really, really like that. And I also adore that there are real exhausts, a rare sight in the motoring world in 2021. Now, when you open it up, you have to manually open it up with a big, heavy tailgate. Now, you've got quite a large boot in here and it's very, very functional. So you can see, you can hide that, you can hide things within the rear. You've got storage under here, nice little compartments. It is very, very handy. Your 12-volt socket in here, tie down points, no load lip. It is a very functionally practical boot, and when you fold down the seats, it actually goes not a 60-40 split, but a 40-40-20, so you can just put down the middle seat or you can put down either side. I really do like that, except you have to come around here to do it, which is a bit of an unusual situation nowadays, as in something like a Tiguan, which we very recently reviewed, you could just pull a lever. When you open that door to the rear, it is a really wide opening door, which means getting a child seat in or a booster seat is really, really easy. And the ISOFIX points to tie it down are also quite easy to find. Now, as we sit in, well, the good news continues. There's loads of knee room, and I actually quite like how your feet can slide underneath the seat in front of you. Then you've got all your usual luxuries. So you've got a bit of storage under here, a folding down armrest with 2 drink holders, USB charging points, and I really like this. So if you do have a baby in the back, you can keep the sun out of their eyes by just hooking that up. You'll probably be a little bit better. It's actually quite hard to hook up, but it's a great feature and it is really nice to have it. And other than that, overall, it's very comfortable back here. It's very spacious and it's just quite a nice place to be. The driver's seat is usually the most important part about a car, because you who's buying the car is going to be spending the vast majority of your time sitting here. And it's really, really good news for the Tucson. I think compared to its predecessor, the old Hyundai Tucson, which you can see the review up there, it's come leaps and bounds. The screens, everything about it is really nice. But let's begin by talking ergonomically. And it's really, really good. There's a nice armrest on either side, which means you can get into a comfy position. The seat is very adjustable. The steering wheel is adjustable. And overall, you can get into a nice, comfortable position. And similarly enough to the Skoda Octavia, they've gone for a bit of a unique steering wheel, which means on that long journey to work, or maybe you've got a holiday home down the country, you can get your hands in very comfortable positions as you're going along the motorway. As well as that, great amount of storage. This storage bin is absolutely gigantic. More storage here, storage under here, a big glove box. drink holders in the cubby hole right there. It's just very, very good, and I can see it working for a family very well. You can hide some snacks for the kids in here. You can have the child's drink there and your coffee here, whatever it might be. It's just very, very functional. You've also got USB chargers here, 12-volt sockets. It's very, very good. And then there's the infotainment system. The entry-level car, the one that costs about 34 grand, that comes with an 8-inch display. However, the upgraded ones, things like the Executive Plus, comes with this 10.25-inch screen, and it's really, really good. It's got its own inbuilt navigation. You also can completely customize the settings, and it's got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I'd love to show you, but unfortunately I forgot to bring my iPhone wire, and it is still a wired up system, which is becoming a little bit dated, particularly in a car that's so focused on a modern and futuristic world. The Tiguan actually has wireless Apple CarPlay, which is a little bit better, I'm going to say, but it's fine. Just leave a wire in the car and you will be okay. Then over here you've also got another digital display in front of you, and again, it's really, really good. You got the old school analog dials, but you can completely customize it. You can get all your different information, your economy, your distance between you and the car in front of you. Everything you want is all here in front of you as well. So as a whole, I think the infotainment system, it's really, really good. I wish I had Apple CarPlay wirelessly, but I'll let that one slide, as overall it is very good. So let's take it for a drive. Now, to drive the Hyundai Tucson, the hybrid version comes with shift by wire. So you just select the D button and it puts it into drive. Now, as you pull off, I'm actually going to turn on the heated seats to warm myself up. That comes as standard in all models, and if you get the Executive Plus, you actually get heated steering wheel too, which is really, really nice, particularly on those cold winter days. Naturally, there are a number of different engines. If you're into the motorway mileage, then potentially something like the 1.6 diesel could be the engine for you, or something like this might be right, which is the 1.6 litre petrol, but it's a hybrid. So if you're into driving around town, this could be the one for you. So let's talk a little bit more about this. So it is that 1.6 litre inline 4, but it's paired with a 44.2 kilowatt electric motor. And what that means is that you can basically shut it down. So let's say, for example, you're driving around town, at times you'll be driving on pure electric. Another thing I noticed is on a motorway, if you're cruising at 100 or 120 kilometers an hour, as you go down a hill and you've got the cruise control set, the engine will actually shut off. So you'll see it shut off on the revs. It's really, really cool. Now, it's not the most fuel efficient on motorways, but around town it is a great option to have. It also comes with 227 brake horsepower. So to put that in perspective, that's about the same amount as a 2020 Volkswagen Golf GTI. So your GTI territory. Now, it's not going to blow the socks off you. You can put it into sport mode here. And when those two motors, the petrol and the electric motor, combine, it is very, very quick. There's a lot of get up and go. And it does actually handle reasonably well for an SUV. But more importantly for this car, because it's not a boy racer car, is just the way it drives day to day, and it is very smooth. It's very simple. What I will say is, I find sometimes the electric motor and the petrol motor are fighting over who gets to give you the power at low speeds, and sometimes it's ever so slightly twitchy. But other than that, it's really, really nice. And the driving aids in any Hyundai are fantastic. The lane assist is genuinely phenomenal. It's not lane keep where it just keeps you from going over the white line, but in fact it will hold you in the middle of a lane, and on the motorway it's fantastic. It also has the accident avoidance system, meaning that if you're not paying attention in low speed traffic, you won't rear end someone. And another really, really cool feature that I noticed today was, for whatever reason, I was looking away at a sign, and when the car in front of me pulled off, this just beeped, and I looked down at my digital display here and it says, the car in front of you has pulled away. And then you know straight away to pull away, and it stops the people behind you beeping at you, and it just makes for smoother traffic flow. One of the most important parts about test driving a car is actually what car you've previously been driving, because it can definitely influence your thoughts. For example, if you're driving a Lamborghini one week and the next week you hop in a Volkswagen GTI, even if the GTI is really fast, it may not feel fast. So, interestingly enough, before I was driving the Tucson, I was driving the Tiguan, and they're direct competitors. And being able to compare them like for like is very interesting. So, for example, I do find that the suspension in the Tiguan is a little bit softer, a little bit more comfortable, but on the flip side, this is a lot quicker. And actually, I think things like the reversing camera is a lot higher quality in this. From a safety point of view, I think Hyundai have nailed it. As I said, it has accident avoidance, but it does just feel very safe in here. And actually, an experiment I did during the week was in a safe manner. I decided to check out how good the lane assist was and what happens when you take your hands off the steering wheel for a prolonged period of time. So first it turns down the radio and it beeps, then it beeps a little bit more, and then eventually after a full minute or two it tells you it's no longer active. But I persisted to drive on the motorway for 3 or 4 more minutes and it never actually switched off. It kept taking the turns, and it made me realize, should I fall asleep, which ideally we don't want happening, but if it did happen, that I would be in safe hands with the Hyundai Tucson. So we've come to the part in the review where we discuss 3 of our favorite and 3 of our least favorite things about the car we're reviewing. So let's start with our least favorite, and number 1 is actually the Hyundai badge, the way it's blacked out. Now, I'm a big fan of a blacked out grille. I think it looks a lot sleeker, a lot more aesthetically pleasing. However, I think the Hyundai badge should remain chrome. Now, that obviously is subjective, but it's number 1 on my list. Number 2 is that there is no volume knob to quickly turn down the music. Let me paint the scene. You're driving down to Wexford on a lovely staycation and you've got the music blaring. We're all going on our summer holidays and the kids ask you something out the back and you can't quickly turn down the volume. Now, you can use this here on the steering wheel, but it isn't as quick as a knob, and if you press the buttons down here, there's no haptic feedback like there is in something like an A6. So you're actually wondering, have I hit the button, have I not, am I turning it down, am I turning it up? It's a little bit slow to respond. And number 3 is that the seatbelt for the 3rd passenger comes from the roof, which is all well and good and easy to click in and click out. However, the person sitting behind the driver is really going to be getting in the way of that seatbelt, or it's going to be getting in the way of them. It's not all bad. In fact, most of it is very, very good. So here are 3 of our favorite things about the all-new Hyundai Tucson. And number 1 is actually to do with the logo. To your eye, it might just look like an italic H. However, it symbolizes a salesperson and a customer shaking hands on a trusted deal. They may have to separate that now due to social distancing. However, as a whole, I really, really do like it. Number 2 is the sun visor, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but this sun visor is very, very functional. So it's got all the usual uses. It's got a mirror, driving license holder, you can disconnect it and put it around to the side, but Hyundai have gone one step further as this pulls out. So what that means is there will be no gap between your visor and your mirror on either side, which is really, really functional. Because think about the number of times you're driving down the road and for some reason the sun just seems to find its way in between the mirror and the visor. No more is that a problem in the Hyundai Tucson. And number 3 is that every single Hyundai Tucson that leaves the showroom floor comes with a 5-year unlimited mileage warranty, and that is the peace of mind you want when you're buying a new car. So there you have it. That is DoneDeal's review of the all-new Hyundai Tucson. And I have to say, it's very impressive. Personally, I'm a huge fan of the interior and the layout in here, and I've enjoyed some slightly longer drives in it this week. Now, if you've ever owned any of its predecessors or even any of its competitors, then let us know in the comments how you're finding your car. Would you consider getting one of the new Tucsons? And give us some feedback on the video as a whole. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to search for Tucsons for sale currently in Ireland from our trusted dealer network nationwide, then hit the link on the top right hand side of the screen. But for now, that's it from us. We'll see you in the next one.